Hey Lee, great to see you today. Thanks so much for stopping by Arca's Founders Showcase. Wanted to maybe give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience, and then we can dive right into what you're building at Spaceport.
Awesome. Thanks, Mihal. Hey, everyone. My name is Lee. I'm the founder and CEO here at Spaceport. I'm really excited to share what we're building here over the last couple of years and all the projects that we've completed to date. So whenever you're ready, Mihal, I'll dive in and start sharing our slides.
Let's do it, and definitely make sure to maybe kind of give some background to your founder's journey of how you've kind of come here as you tell us more about Spaceport and also the rest of the team that kind of coalesce here around the idea of really digitizing one of the fundamental premises of culture, which is IP. But I definitely don't want to steal the show, and over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a massive, massive problem. And I'll share my screen here and just let me know if you can see it.
We can.
Okay, awesome. So um, what we're building here at Spaceport is called Nebula. And Nebula decentralizes the IP supply chain with unique base layer functionality that solves root issues plaguing the IP or an intellectual property industry, including ownership attestation, rights management, and royalty flow enforcement. So with Nebula, we're digitizing this massive existing $350 billion intellectual property licensing market, which is traditionally dominated by slow and costly pen and paper processes, accountants, lawyers, and we're also enabling the growth of a new category of on-chain real-world assets, which is valued at $20 trillion in the US alone. Yeah, to answer your question, Mihal, a little bit about myself. I'm a computer scientist and a three-time founder with a successful exit in the enterprise AI space. And I joined forces with my co-founder, Lita Tang, who is also a serial entrepreneur and video game veteran who built and launched $2 billion franchises, BioShock and Saints Row. And we'll dive into the rest of the team's amazing backgrounds later in the presentation as well. But yeah, let's dive in. So with Lita, together we noticed that content creation is shifting, right? Really, culture is shifting from centralized to decentralized platforms, right? Otherwise known as user-generated content or UGC platforms. These include Roblox, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, basically all of the dominant internet products that we use today are user-generated. And on these platforms, millions and millions of new creators are entering the workforce every single year and are challenging the established footholds that AAA studios, these centralized companies, used to hold very close to their chest. But as they're creating, they're often infringing on IP intellectual property rights, such as copyrights or trademarks, because it's just so difficult to legitimately license content, while IP owners themselves struggle to manage IP deals at scale. So they're leaving billions of dollars on the table. And so just as an example, right, as a creator on Roblox, I might be 18, 19 years old, and I grew up in this ecosystem, and I grew up watching Dragon Ball and Goku and Dragon Ball. So I'll just decide, hey, I'm going to make a fighting game in Roblox, and I'm going to just throw Goku in there because I think that that'd be really fun, and I think all of my friends would be really interested in playing as Goku. And what's happening nowadays is those little UGC created games are becoming extremely popular and sometimes extremely profitable as well. Some of these games are generating tens of millions of dollars, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue. And so IP owners eventually realize this is going on, and they don't really have a good recourse to deal with that situation besides taking down that content. In which case, that's a lose-lose-lose situation. The original creator loses out, the IP owner loses out on a revenue opportunity, and the platform loses out on a multiple of that revenue as well. So you also might have seen this problem before with counterfeit items on Etsy or bootleg videos on YouTube. this is a widespread problem across all of UGC, and the root of the issue starts with the fact that IP owners themselves are still living in the past, and they don't have a digital system to scalably manage and deliver their IP rights to creators. So to solve that, we're building infrastructure that makes IP deals scalable and provides decentralized access to the world's best IPs for all creators. And we're starting with the world's largest mass market UGC platforms like Roblox and Fortnite. Roblox themselves already have more than 380 million monthly active users with over 80 million daily active users. It's one of the largest platforms in the world today, not just gaming platforms, platforms in general today. In just the last few months, we've executed over 3,000 on-chain licensing agreements, and we've signed exclusive deals with line of sight to 7 to 8-digit revenues. Some of the brands that we're working with now include Toei Animation, the owners of Dragon Ball, One Piece, Sailor Moon, Digimon, and other world-class IPs. And they're one of the largest IP owners in the world, actually the 12th largest IP owner in the world. And flipping back here real quick. And as an enterprise partner with Roblox and as the emerging IP backbone for platforms like Roblox, we really see the future where all IP, both online and offline, is managed and monetized through our infrastructure. So we believe our timing is perfect to address these critical intellectual property issues in real-world markets while leveraging the accelerating adoption and momentum of Web3 mass market tooling. And when I jump into the demo later, I think it'll become apparent, why we're building for real-world users and how we're doing so, and how we're abstracting away a lot of the technology that we're implementing from Web3 to make it really, really simple and easy for end users to use in traditional markets. And I'll jump into our team. Just to wrap things up here, we've built a really amazing team that come from a background of both blockchain, gaming, and IP. Our first hire was our general counsel and head of IP, Dan Temkin, who spent 10 years at Procter & Gamble, managing several billion-dollar brands, and then worked under the First Circuit Federal Court here in Boston. And finally co-founded the first Web3 esports tournament company, First Blood, which ICO'd in 2017. Then we have our head of growth, Brett Fink, who led IP licensing at WME, one of the largest agencies in the world, and worked with major celebrities like Seth Rogen and Snoop Dogg on their licensing projects. And our two most recent hires, Tammy Lee, our head of finance, was previously head of finance for Republic, the crowdfunding platform, and crypto advisory firm, and led them through their Series A and Series B rounds. And then finally, our most recent hire, Marco Sanchez, as our head of marketing and comms. He previously led marketing and comms at Scale, the layer 2 blockchain. And then before then, he was global head of marketing and comms at Unity, which you may know is a publicly traded company and the world's largest game engine.
Wonderful. So maybe at this point it would be fantastic to kind of show and tell what the actual tool looks like, feels like, both from the licensor, the IP holder, and a licensee, someone that is looking to use it. And I think what really drawn us to the vein of how Yuli and Lida and the team have been building is actually value creation and expansion of that IP pie versus maybe just enabling kind of prosecution and kind of variety of different ways of enforcement. So if you could show us a little bit more some of the tooling that you're bringing to the market, and walk us through some of that user flow, would be great, and very helpful to understand.
Yeah, happy to. And I think to that point, right, it's when we're talking about solving real world problems, like these are pain points that have been voiced to us by executives, by team members at major corporations that own some of the most valuable IP in the world, right? And so for the last couple of years, we've been building solutions to address those key problems. We spent a lot of time talking to customers. We spent a lot of time really entrenching ourselves within the IP industry And that means everyone from the IP owners to the largest trade organizations like Licensing International to the developers and the fans and the licensees, both large and small, to really understand what they need in order to do their jobs better. And like you said, at the end of the day, the business of IP itself, and specifically licensing, which is a very, very unique and very broad industry because it touches almost every single product that we use every single day, is all about accretive revenues, right? The business of licensing is taking an idea that people fell in love with and then figuring out other ways to satisfy consumers who are in love with that product but want to experience it in another arena, right? And so in the past, very, very opaque industry, very, very, handshake driven, peer-to-peer. And what we're doing is bringing that all online, right? And you'll see that now with the products that we've built. So we are using, I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. There we go. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So we are using Web3 tools behind the scenes, and that includes Spaceport Protocol, which is a series of EVM-compatible smart contracts that handles the IP licensing portion of the business. And then we have Nebula, which is a dedicated layer 2 blockchain, which Spaceport Protocol and other smart contracts and dApps can build off of. So for these smart contracts, it's going to be very rare that a normal user interacts directly with the contract itself, right? And so we built a couple of dApps that allow end users to effectively use the tooling that we've and the infrastructure that we built. This page here, so I can view the license properties. These are kind of like high-level bullets in terms of what's offered. I can actually review the PDF contract itself. More about that in a second. And I can complete the signing process. So this fully replaces DocuSign and really emails, spreadsheets back and forth. And I can go ahead and sign. When I sign, we actually generate a fully legally compliant PDF agreement that's legally compliant in over 192 jurisdictions as per the Berne Convention. And you'll be able to see that here. So this is our transaction explorer for Spaceport Protocol. You can see all of the on-chain transactions that are being completed, including agreements that are signed. And when I jump in here, and I mentioned before, we have over 3,000 license agreements that have already been signed. You can view the agreement PDF. So when I jump in, you'll see that there's a fully signed signature page here, including our wallet address between two CEOs of the company that signed this agreement. And you'll note that this is actually hosted on IPFS. And then licensors and licensees have the option to host that either on IPFS or on also a private data store. It's to fully end-to-end manage all of their licensing transactions, discoverability, licensing itself, contracting, and then royalty flow, accounting and management. And so here's a dashboard for what a licensor or licensee would see in terms of revenue that's flowing through these contracts. With an enterprise partner like Roblox, we actually have the ability to pull revenue statistics directly out of the platform. And we're able to connect them directly to individual assets that are being licensed out.
Very cool.
So this is a good example of how we can manage the entire licensing and royalty process on chain, provide a fully digital solution for the end users. And this really eliminates a huge amount of bottlenecks and makes it really streamlined for creators of all sorts to be able to tap into some of the world's best IPs.
Yeah, definitely a major upgrade to the space, and that's what we are here to support. So thank you so much, Lee, for yet again your presentation, and we'll certainly make sure to check back with you as you bring this to the market. Thanks again.
All right, thank you, Michal.